making that dough in the crypto paradise. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh.
Good morning from Paradise Surfers. Happy Monday. We are back, another daily live stream. That song just brings me joy, brings me happiness. Even though the markets are red, my portfolio is down a little bit, and my dopamine levels are a little bit shot right now, that song just gives me peace and joy. Hope you guys are feeling good despite the markets. We got a lot to cover today. Look, there's two camps. There's one camp that says it's 500 and some days, past when the low was hit. And that means the bull run's over because it's always 543 days. And then there's people like myself, and I think like Nick, who say, I think it's a little bit more complicated than a number of days, folks. I think it's cyclical. I think it's liquidity-based. I think it's Fed policy-based. It's political-based. It's macro-based. It's euphoria-based. We didn't have a euphoria yet, did we? This bull run ain't over, guys. We're taking a little breather, a little buy the rumor, sell the news on the Fed rate cut. But I'm not worried. This market has more to go. Do I think it's got another year? No. But I do think we have another 3 to 6 months based on where the business cycle is, where the Fed cutting rate cycle is, the laws that are about to get passed that are beneficial to crypto. So we got a lot to look forward to, even though the market's a bit red today. I'm riding high because my Eagles won yesterday in an improbable last-minute field goal block. I mean, just bananas. 2 of those in the game. I mean, this just doesn't happen. So I'm going to take a little bit of luck from my Eagles and apply it to the crypto markets. Wouldn't that be nice? How was your weekend, though, Nick?
Pretty good. Touched a little grass, did our thing, but we will pull up some charts now, as that is what everybody wants to see here. Let's find the Bitcoin chart. Giving up a lot of its gains, but, let's see. I was tuning into the Wolf of Wall Street. They already did a live show, and somebody broke down this liquidation and is saying it kind of looked a little manipulated. It happened while the United States was dead asleep, and it also started with the cascading effect on Ethereum, which obviously affects all coins more than Bitcoin. And they believe that it will bounce somewhere down here. But here's Bitcoin. Obviously, the sell at 23.8, buy at 112, buy at 110. The target was 117 to 118. Todd did sell up here. And now back down to 112 on a random cascading liquidation call on 4 a.m. on a Sunday. Now, it's not surprising to see a dump on Monday. The Monday dumps have been happening every week for weeks now. We rally a little bit on the weekends. You can see this is where Friday was. We started rallying on Saturday, even held gains on Sunday, and then all of a sudden, kaboom, Monday strikes and we dump off. But this one has been more severe than the ones in the past. You do see that Bitcoin is now oversold on the RSI, back to support on the 200 moving average, and back to the neckline from this inverse head and shoulders here, which we call that gave you the 17 to 18K target. So if you're going to hold, you want to hold here, hold right now. We'll see how this progresses. Now, the easier chart to look at here is Ethereum. This is where you can see the liquidation cascade started. Look at the wick on that thing. And what do you know? It's still in the same zone that we've had here for months. Remember, this zone target was drawn off of an inverse head and shoulders. We had the buy down here at 1800 with the sell zone up here, 4100 to 4350. It's been a critical level. You can see we continue to consolidate in that level. We had the weekend rally last weekend, and then it dumped off on Monday. This is a Friday. We had a weekend rally this weekend, and then we dumped off again on Monday. So nothing has changed here for Ethereum. Still in the same range, and we keep saying the bullish retest is still 3900. So unless this 3900, 3890 level gives away, then I'm not too worried. Obviously, we don't want to see it go down there. We want to see this be a manipulated liquidation grab and continue upward and onward. But this is still not out of the question just yet. Major oversold on the 4-hour RSI for Ethereum. And what could cause Ethereum to rally here? Well, Thomas Lee, just for the TLDR, if you don't want to read their full thread, Bitmine has raised $365 million by selling a stock at a 14% premium as of Friday's close. That is looking to go towards what? Mostly buying Ethereum off the open market. This is a good dip to buy if you're watching Bitmine or Thomas Lee. If you get those funds cleared by the banks, buy the dip. $365 million coming to an Ethereum buy near you. Well, maybe not all of it, because we do know they invested $20 million in WorldCoin and some other things. Nonetheless, That is a lot of money that will be buying and supporting Ethereum and Ethereum ecosystems, Ethereum altcoins here in the near term.
Time to buy the dip and save our butts, Tom Lee. Isn't that what you're here for? Isn't that what you're here to do, bro? I'm just playing around, but yeah, hopefully he does buy the dip. I'm sure he will, at least to some degree. And anyway, if your time horizon is multiple years, 4,300 or 4,200 is absolutely a dip. So yeah, good for him. Glad he's still bullish, as are we. So as is Martin, as is Moonmut, and Meek Chapo. Good morning, guys. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in as always. I think when you see those 3 a.m. on a Sunday night sell-offs or pumps, right? It can go either way. That's market manipulation. That's the hallmark of it, because those manipulating the market at that time, the market makers, they know that liquidity's thin. There's not a lot of volume at that time. It's easy to move the prices up and down when there is a lot of market activity. And so they're doing it at 3 or 4 a.m. U.S. time. And, you see these dramatic sell-offs or dramatic pumps. Normally, these end up being very short-lived. And that's why I started my spiel with, is this the end of the bull run? And I'm hearing some voices saying, look, it's September 22nd. That's coming up around the time when historically blah, blah, blah. I just think that argument completely ignores the facts on the ground. It ignores where we are in the business cycle, the market cycle, Fed rate cut cycle. It just ignores all the facts and just says, oh, well, life is as simple as everything repeats exactly as it did before. Really? Not the world I live in. I mean, history certainly rhymes, but it rarely repeats, right? So I just don't think this bull run's over, guys. We have a little correction, a little market manipulation, nothing really to get overly concerned about. And I think in a week from now, this will all be forgotten. We got some numbers coming out from the Fed or from the government data, CPI numbers, etc. Fed is going to cut rates again. I think we need to get a little bit more confirmation on that, though, and the market will recover.
While the digital gold is floundering, the physical gold is going to another new all-time high, up 0.88% today to $3,716. It actually was $3,025 earlier today. That shouldn't be a surprise if you've been following along. We've been saying this is going to continue to work higher towards an end goal of somewhere between $3,900 to $4,000 per ounce. You had a little volatility after the Fed meeting when the cuts came, but that thing just ripped to another all-time high. What's interesting here is, usually Bitcoin chases this. Also, usually Bitcoin chases the M2 money supply, which went to a new all-time high over the weekend. And yet we had this sell-off. So, I mean, will Bitcoin fade away into obscurity, or will it follow historical trends? For all the people, that are stuck on the 4-year halving cycle and saying the top is near, well, if the top is near, then it probably needs to run to catch up to gold. It probably needs to run to catch up to the M2 money supply. And pretty interesting here. We convinced everybody that the fiat system is broken, but they are going out and buying gold instead of Bitcoin or other crypto assets currently. So we did half the job. We need to do the other half and tell them that digital assets are better than physical assets.
When you see these pumps, it's institutional driven as much as retail, probably more so. So, gold is a hot narrative right now. It's obviously outperforming. People will continue to pile into that trade until it, reverses or consolidates, and then people look for the next thing. So, typically Bitcoin is on a 2 or 3 month lag to gold. I don't think that nothing's changed in my view that would sort of break that precedent. But we will have to see. I'm still very bullish. I think Bitcoin has another run or multiple runs in it this cycle. I mean, again, the target was the end of the year, in my view, as to when, to take profits and when the cycle may be petering out. We're not there yet. We haven't even had October. Look, so if October's red, okay, let's maybe the bears who thought 124K was the top, maybe they were right. But my bet is October stays consistent as Uptober, and we have a nice little rebound here, and Bitcoin's smashing all-time highs. And that's what we need. We need that because our guy, Roan, and I'm sure many other people, and even ourselves to some degree, defeated as fuck. I'm never going to make it. Maybe that's some kind of bottom signal. I mean, first of all, I'm sorry you feel that way, bud. It's darkest before the dawn. We can use a lot of cliches. If you're in alts, if you're in low caps, everyone's been beaten down. In fact, unless you were in like 5 trades this bull run, unless you were in Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, BNB, Hyperliquid, and maybe like a handful of others, unless you were in those, you're defeated. Because every other coin is just down from where they started for the most part. So I get that, man. That is typically a signal, though, I would say as well. When you get a lot of fear and, depression and retail's feeling beaten down. Market has a funny way of turning around and bouncing and surprising everyone. So just hang in there. I do not think this is the time to capitulate and sell everything at a massive loss. But, look, you got to do what you feel is best. It's not financial advice. I just feel like Hey, end of the year hasn't happened. Let's wait. Let's wait for October. Let's wait for this Fed rate cut, and hopefully some of your alts will rebound and you'll be in profit soon enough.
Yeah, and talking about how there's a 2-month lag on Bitcoin to gold, that's what you're saying. Gold did its low and its breakout in August, which would lead you to like October 20th is when Bitcoin will start its ascent and then get to this level by the end of the year. So we'll see what happens. That it would be the math on that, which is good to see. There was also some news that this was the largest total liquidations chart ever in quite some time here this year on the long side. So the most number of long liquidations occurred overnight this Sunday leading into Monday that we've seen all year long. This does go with the thesis that Wolf of Wall Street had that they were targeting Ethereum, and this was kind of an orchestrated liquidity crunch to try to liquidate a lot of the longs here, and the thesis that maybe this is a short-term dip meant for buying. So we'll see how that plays out. Nonetheless, man, going too heavy on the leverage without enough capital to catch yourself is how you get liquidated, because it really hasn't even been that big of a dump. I mean, Ethereum dropped like $200 and we had the largest liquidation on the long side this year. That's pretty crazy.
Apparently. But remember how these exchanges make money, guys. This is literally their business model. Exchanges, first of all, crypto has become very reliant on leverage trading. Look at the most popular platform in the cycle. It's Hyperliquid. That's what it does. Yes, you look at Binance. You look at even Coinbase. It opened up futures trading a few weeks ago, or a month or two ago, whatever. This is how the exchange made money. But how do they make money? Yes, maybe on the fees, trading fees, so on and so forth. But they make it really on the liquidations, right? Because that's when they take your money from you and they put it in their pocket. And then sometimes they're on the losing end of that trade and they got to pay you out. But this is how they make their money. This is why they have, these liquidity crunches and moments of manipulation. So I just don't read too much into this dump. Like, unless you're a leverage trader, and you're on the wrong side of that, like, I feel your pain, and that's a different story. But if you're just a holder, if you're just an altcoin guy waiting for, alt season to materialize, I don't think this dump is anything to worry about, because to me it's just a leverage trading washout, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, if we zoom out and look at the chart here off the load, you kind of see this rally consolidation. You get a flush out before the next rally consolidation, the flush out. Before the next rally consolidation, the flush out, and now you have another rally consolidation, and it looks like this could be a flush out. Now, maybe does it go a little lower than this $4,000 low? Yeah, that would be the $3,900 breakout retest. And you look a lot like all these other consolidations, this entire rally of Ethereum, always seemingly to just get boring, flush you out, and then leave you behind. Get boring, flush you out, and then leave you behind. Even back here on a smaller note, look at this. Consolidation, flush out, leave you behind. Consolidation, flush out, leave you behind. So we'll see if history repeats itself. Obviously, that's just being the bullish mindset, but the macros just look for higher because the QE has just started. The 4-year halving cycle says we go higher in Q4 2025. You have, all this bullish Fed stuff, all this bullish SEC stuff for crypto. It'd be very weird for this to be a top. And people do say, well, when the bullish stuff happened in 2017, that was the top for Bitcoin. Well, that was futures Bitcoin ETFs. They didn't have to own that. Now it's all spot ETFs, and you got all the big boys behind it, not just some ancillary futures markets. So, for scarce assets, scarce digital assets, that's supposed to be the thesis. If it gets locked up in wallets, there's less out there, which means supply and demand is broken and price goes higher to the right. And that's what we're starting to see in traditional markets with them hoarding Ethereum and Bitcoin and getting them staked. So we'll see if it continues to play out. Obviously, for Ethereum, over the past couple months, it's played out with the double up in price. This isn't, when you zoom out, that big of a dip. Everybody's panicking, I get it. But this looks a lot like all the other rallies we've seen in the past couple months.
Well, in the moment it sucks, and then you forget about it a week later. So just zoom ahead in your mind to a week later. You've forgotten about this. You've completely moved on. It's not even affected you in any way, and life goes on. So we'd love to hear from our loyal listeners. You guys have any questions? Good morning all. Yeah, I mean,
is there any news articles you want to pull up, and I'll look at a couple of these charts and maybe see if there's some good opportunities for people. I don't know if there's any around.
I did not spend time looking at news this morning. Was dealing with my kids and then working on this quants raise. Speaking of which, if you guys are looking to get into quants presale, if you think the market is not done running and you want to get risk on and get into a possible 10, 100x opportunity, not financial advice. Quant's pre-sale is still open. It's closing in a few hours. So we're wrapping that up. We have that opportunity open for Surf Down members. We'd already got into the strategic round back in January. They reopened it for us, because we have some new community members who want to get involved. Great. So that opportunity closing out today, but they're launching in 4 or 5 days. So hopefully by September 25th, we're looking real green because we need a win. We need a win in our books. Quant's shaping up, has huge potential, but the market needs to cooperate here for pre-sales to do well.
Yeah, here's the TLDR on the quants. If you need 200,000 surf or more, get in the Dow, and then you can invest in the quants pre-sale. Today is the last opportunity to get into the quants pre-sale. We think it's going to do pretty well. It kind of finds itself in the same sector as Hyperliquid and Aster, which have done very well. Also, Frontier Fund, which is a private fund that has done well, kind of finds itself in the middle. That's why we think it can do well. It's also launching on Solana. Some Solana pre-sales before this dump have been doing extremely well, so I think it's worth the risk, and that's why we're getting involved with it. A really good team. If you want to learn more about what their team members and what they got going on and what's coming for the KVAI token, we did do a spaces with them on Friday. 193 people have watched so far. So go on our feed or their feed, scroll down a little bit. You can play the recording. There was some technical issues until about the 5 or 10 minute mark, and then we got those resolved. So definitely take a listen if you're interested. Today is the last day. 200,000 surf or more. Then you can invest in the quants pre-sale. It's only available to the Surf DAO if you want to get in the strategic round. There is some public rounds available on launch pads, but remember, that means you have to have their token. You get limited allocations, whatever. If you want an unlimited allocation, you can invest $500, $5,000, $10,000 into the strategic round, then get into the Surf DAO. It closes today. For the people in my private group, I'll be doing a separate small form video extrapolating out on this a little bit and see if you guys want to get in as well. So we're bullish on that. We want it to do well. If it does do well, then we're off to the races once again with pre-sale season. So that's Cavants for you guys.
Yeah, Quants, has all the boxes checked from my standpoint, right? They've, first of all, stood the test of time. They've been out for like 3 years building this product. The product is live. There's token utility on day one. Their product's already generating revenue for investors. Basically what their product is you use their AI-based trading platform and you just generate yield for yourself in a passive way. So, kind of similar to a Frontier Fund or other passive trading outfits. But that's the product. They already have like 14 million TVL in there as far as I understand. Their team is top-notch. They're solid on the market. They got good launch pads. The exchange listing coming. They're launching on Solana. Their launch strategy very similar to one that did extremely well. So I am bullish on it. I am bullish on it. But do your own research. And see if you want to get involved. Let's hope. Look, pre-sales, if they come back, man, we're absolutely off to the races here with Crypto Paradise as well, because that's been our bread and butter for many years. So let's just do our best to support those guys. Get out there, on X, on Telegram, be a positive force for good over there, especially if you're an investor, and let's make Quants a big success. So we have Rema here with a question. I want to just throw up on the screen, if you don't mind. First of all, good morning. And then, did you read a rumor about some news on a Bitcoin strategic reserve? Could be a nice narrative for reversely upside. I had been hearing, it's called rumors or news reports, that Michael Saylor has been down in Washington, D.C., meeting with politicians to help craft that legislation, right, to finalize the details around the United States Bitcoin strategic reserve, which could theoretically be introduced to Congress any day now, ultimately pass into law, and then the U.S. would start buying Bitcoin. That's best case scenario. We'll see how that all plays out. But outside of that rumor, I haven't heard much. Nick, did you hear anything beyond that?
Yeah, today there's going to be an Oval Office meeting that is going to be discussing potential causation or cure for autism. And then tomorrow there's some big news related to Bitcoin or the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve or Bitcoin regulatory guidelines. So there will be news tomorrow that could stimulate the market. And like you said, could be a nice bounce for Bitcoin, which could drive the market higher. So we'll see what that is. Obviously, none of these I would say are nothing burgers, but sometimes they don't impact the overall market because whatever has been announced still doesn't have direct impact as far as kicking into effect for months down the road. They could say, hey, we're starting to buy Bitcoin, but it's not going to happen until Q1 of 2026, and then it's just another speculation thing, and they're not actually doing it just yet. But yeah, there is going to be a meeting on Tuesday that relates primarily to Bitcoin. We'll see what it has to do with. So yeah, shout out to you, Rima. We have not talked about that yet, but I did see that circling around on Twitter over the weekend. So that is something that nobody's talking about. Obviously, people put their head down and look at the data when they see red in the charts like this. Look at the red across the board on this watch list. And we've been talking about Doge because Doge continues to hold its uptrend line, had immense strength over the weekend and looked like it wanted to go higher, but obviously the entire market went down. But you can see it is bouncing off the moving averages, which is really good support for Doge. Why are we rooting for Doge? When Doge does well, that means that many other altcoins are doing well. Dog season starts, meme coins are running, as Doge is still kind of the lead dog, the top dog. Yes, that is just funny puns, but they are the top mover when it comes to just straight up meme coins, and they're trying to create some utility, but there really isn't utility yet. There's some companies that are buying up a little Doge, the foundation is getting active with Doge, but at the end of the day, it's still just a meme coin and a meme network that was doing well, and some alts are starting to see green. So this will be one to keep an eye on. Do I think Doge is the best buy in all of crypto right now? No. Do I think Doge goes over $1 this cycle? Yes. So if 3x is what you're looking for, maybe Doge is the play for you. Maybe it resonates a little better with you than Ethereum for some reason. But again, like to see this price action of Doge so far.
Yeah, don't fade Doge, don't fade altcoins. Look, we're on a red day. Does that mean next week we'll be in the same spot? Doubtful. Especially when you have the likes of Michael Saylor meeting with Donald Trump in the Oval Office tomorrow to discuss a Bitcoin strategic reserve. I mean, to me, like, yes, we don't know the details. It could be a nothing burger. It could be more of the same, kind of just talk. But it feels like it's moving the ball in the right direction towards a final, formal, piece of legislation that says this is how we are going to buy Bitcoin. We are, in fact, going to start buying Bitcoin. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we are going to custody it. This is happening. Look, if Donald Trump wants something done domestically, internationally, it's different because he's relying on unreliable counterparties like Vladimir Putin to do his bit, to do what Trump wants. Hard thing to do. But domestically, right? He's fully in control. He's the leader of the Republican Party. The Republican Party controls all branches of Congress. They control all branches of government, I should say. Right? House, Senate, and the presidency. So if Donald Trump wants to muscle a piece of legislation through, he can probably get it done. I wouldn't bet against it. So let's see what happens with this legislation. Let's see what the final terms are on it. Let's see the plan for getting it enacted. But this is not really a nothing burger. Because if Donald Trump wants this done, it's going to get done one way or another.
Yeah, Bitcoin back above 113,000, still down 1.73% as this liquidation crunch is starting to resolve itself. Now, you're not out of the woods just because you rally here, guys. This could be an A down. You get a B up rally and a C down, which means you do go lower than this 111. So you got to be vigilant here if you are trading or if you're looking to buy a dip. You got to stay vigilant on those things. Now, talking about Doge and meme coins in the crypto market, what about the meme stocks? This is one that we continue to say you need to be buying. I did a whole video on why this is going to rally due to the news of every 10 shares you own, you will get one stock warrant. That stock warrant gives you the right to buy an additional share for $32 by the October of 2026. Well, Nick, it's $26 right now. Why would you want to buy a warrant at $32? Well, this is them betting you that it will be over $2 per share by October 2026. Also, the stock warrant does trade on the open market for a couple dollars. People betting, hey, I can buy this warrant for a few bucks, and that gives me the right to buy at $32 a share. So there is going to be free airdrop in the stock market coming to GME stockholders. The snapshot for that happens. This terminology resonates with you guys. The snapshot for those holdings occurs on October 3rd. That is still a week or two away. That means this price probably hold firm. Believers aren't going to want to sell before the snapshot. Speculators want to buy before the snapshot, and that is why you're seeing price go vertical. It's not massive percentages, but we were up 25% on 2 GME buys that we gave you guys. The next resistant level is up here right around that 32 level by like 33.50. So for trading, maybe we want to sell it up here, but this is what we are watching on GameStop. Continues to be a big performer in the stock portfolio. Has kind of crypto-related ties, meme-related ties, and we got you guys long on dips not once, but twice. It's nice to see in a sea of red. The stock market is red, crypto is red, everything is red. GameStop went up another $1 today, so at least there's something in your portfolio that's green.
A little green to make us feel good. I love a story outside of the trade, great trade you did there, recommended there for sure. But what I love is that it sort of exemplifies what I think has happened to the financial markets over the past, 5 years since COVID, basically. It's the memification of the financial markets. It's the retailification it's the cryptofication of the financial market. Basically, what they're telling you is you buy now, we'll get an airdrop of the stock later. What a crypto move. What a crypto move that is. So I just think it's so cool. It's so fun to see. Look, I think there's a lot of old fogies out there, old timers. This is how the financial markets operate. You just, you put your money in your 401k every month, and you'll retire, 65, and you'll have a lot of money. I don't know, man. Things are changing. The market's changed. Retail's a force to be reckoned with. There's ways to outperform the market. You want to take a little bit of risk. I think that's why you tune into Crypto Paradise.
Yeah, and then here we got Tesla up 4% today. Well, what's going on with Tesla? Well, there was the Charlie Kirk Memorial Service, and Elon Musk and Trump were not only in the same room for the first time in months, they were sitting next to each other for the first time in months, and they even had a handshake. Nobody really knows what they said, but it looked like from lip reading that people assumed that Trump leaned in after handshaking Elon Musk and said, appreciate you, whether that's appreciate you being here, appreciate what you've done for the country, or whatever that means, but it definitely looked like he said, appreciate you. And how silly as that may be, Tesla across all the red is up 4.25%, trying to break out to new all-time highs. Is the Elon Musk and Trump friendship coming back? Is Elon going to be involved again? We shall see. All I do know is when they were working together, the markets were loving it across the board, not just for Tesla, not just for stocks, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, and everything else was loving it as well. I think it did, people saw and speculated on what the future could be because Elon was there with Doge trying to cut government spending, trying to weed out all the fraud and all the waste, which is obviously good for the U.S. economy and the U.S. American citizen moving forward.
Yeah, cool. That's a nice little thing. I think, look, tragic incident with Charlie Kirk, obviously, but when something like that happens, people's kind of guard goes down, your ego goes down. You know what? There's more important things in life than our little feud over whatever they were feuding over, and you resolve it, and that's a beautiful thing. I don't think it has a long-term impact on the markets. It's Trump and Elon shaking hands like big whoop. What has a big long-term impact on the markets is Fed policy. But you know what caused this pump outside of the handshake? Elon committing to $200 billion share buyback that was announced last week of Tesla stock. That's the kind of thing that moves the markets in a meaningful way. But I am very happy to see them, making up, shaking hands. I think that's great. Happy for that. But to me, the bigger news story is M2 money supply, Fed policy, all these different macro stories I think have a much bigger impact here. But we do have another comment from our boy Rema. Total 3, I guess that's altcoins, right? On the verge of breaking out. Still a resistance. Maybe we can pull up that chart. I don't know. But, I keep seeing, stories about, all right, okay, altcoins right on the corner. It's breaking out. We're going to happen. And then, boom, goes the opposite direction. So we've been in the shit for a while, altcoin-wise. Have it for a long time, haven't we, boys? We got Todd popped in. What's going on, Todd? Reminding folks to smash the like, share, and subscribe. Absolutely. Please do so. We're here every day to maybe brighten your day a little bit, folks, even on these red days.
Yeah, Pulse Chain's down, everything's down, Surf is down as well, but I think that's a good point, is the Dow did vote to move those funds. It was something like $3,600. It's probably close to $33,000, $3,200, I don't know, because I'm sure PLS price is down since that was withdrawal. I think Pulse Chain is down too low and Surf is too cheap, so maybe we need to do a big buy and burn of Surf very soon. That'll be several $1,000s of buys and burns for Surf. What's interesting about that is when price is down, that buy and burn has a bigger impact because you're buying more Surf off the open market, so that's more of the total supply burned forever. Also, that $3,000 buy or whatever it ends up being does stimulate more rewards to the holders. It stimulates more LP ads and it stimulates more funds back to the Dow. So expect that to be coming, guys. That isn't going to make Surf go to new all-time highs because we do have thick liquidity pools over there. But $3,000 worth of Surf at these levels is quite a bit of tokens. Going to be bought off the market. And, of course, you'll see an uptick in some rewards to your wallet for that day as well. So that might happen today or tomorrow. I think buying the dip makes a lot of sense because you get more tokens off the open market for that buy and burn. And then, of course, the no expectation wallet still has thousands of dollars sitting there waiting to do a marketing campaign when it makes sense in the market. Deploying funds for a marketing campaign when the market is red, it turns into a nothing burger. You need to see some support. You need to see a mini alt season. You need to see Pulse Chain having some green candles. And then you come in and dump thousands of dollars into a marketing campaign to get Surf in front of all these people who now, A, has good morale, B, are in front of the computer because the market is green, and C, has profits and other assets that they can roll into Surf, which we think will outperform. So that's kind of the goal here. Surf is way too cheap, so why not Dow, buy and burn a massive amount, thousands of dollars of Surf coming soon.
Let's do it, man. We got the money that's ready to go. The Dow voted to do it. We normally do the buy, Surf, and then add liquidity with another pair or a few other pairs. And that's why Surf, one of the reasons anyway, Surf has great and thick liquidity pools. But we've been doing that for like 5-6 months. And so we had a discussion in the Dow. Why not switch it up? Let's do something different this time. Let's try the buy and burn, right? The prices are low. We can buy a large amount of tokens, burn them off the market, do a little marketing around that, have a nice green candle hopefully as well. Maybe that spurs on, new buyers or volume or what have you. So let's try. Let's see how that goes. Maybe it'll turn out that, adding liquidity is the better way to go. Who knows? We can always go back next month because we do this about every month or every 3 weeks or so. And, do buy and add LP, right? So nothing's set in stone. Every month we kind of vote. But this time it feels like the buy and burn was the prevailing sentiment. and so we will get that done, and that will happen pretty soon here. But yeah, I mean, Pulse chain's down, all the altcoins are down. But man, this is hell. If you got balls and you got if you got some capital sitting on the side, this is where you make the money, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing for people. It's, you know, these dips are kind of back to where the lows were, and people have already kind of deployed all their cash. You know, that's the biggest thing. It's like not too many people have the excess cash to keep putting into the market, so it's a tough period for a lot of folks if you can't buy the dip, or if you already bought the dip, but now it's back to the dip. It's like, well, I bought the dip, I'm not up on anything, but I'm flat, and you just got to keep waiting. And the thing is, we haven't made too many calls because it's hard to make calls right now. Everything's down. Nothing's sustaining. I'm in a couple other private groups that are making some calls, and they're down like 80% over the weekend. So it's like, well, glad I didn't buy in those. Glad we didn't use any of that information to call in the Learn Crypto group or the Surf DAO. It is what it is. The one call we've had recently is the Rome token that went, we called it at 15K and 38K. It went as high as 350K. Its team wallet got hacked over the weekend. So 600 million tokens were sold on the open market, sending it down to $8,000. But there has been some news since then that all the tokens are sold, the LPs were burnt, that wallet is no longer being used, and the project continues on. It has rallied back up to $60,000 market cap. So back in the green if you're in either of the Surf DAOs, and they are fighting through it. Obviously, they lost one of the bullish metrics, which is supply control, because now that hacker sold it and it's been distributed out to the rest of the community. What's interesting is it had 140 holders before the hack. Now after the hack, it has 188 holders because some people are speculating and buying that dip rather than sitting on the sidelines. So very unfortunate there. Our one call is still up 2x to 4x, which is I guess good considering a lot of these other calls. You know, Martin has been called in groups. I'll show these. Martin has been called in a couple groups that I'm in, and well, look at that chart. Completely just washed out. Another one with the BSC hype, Hold has been called in several groups. Look at this chart once it pulls up. I mean, if you got in at any time when any of these groups are calling it, you're down massively. So, I mean, it's hard to call stuff just to call stuff. We're trying to call stuff to find wins, and right now it is just not a good time to do so. I think that's why we've been very limited on our calls, and the calls has been, hey, get an ETH, hold your position, stay in the positions we're already liking. You know, Rome is up 2 or 4x even after an exploit, so that's good. And, you know, now we got this pre-sale opportunity with quants. So when the market gives us opportunities, we will get more active, but you can't be active just to be active. I know that's what people want. That's what gets the clicks. That's what gets the followers and the, you know, people joining the group. But if you just get people to join the group and leave them to slaughter, well, that doesn't help anybody either. So that's why we've been silent right now, and so far that's kind of paid off.
It's been tough, man. It's been tough. Really shitty about the Rome situation. I don't know what happened there, hack or what. I mean, it's just a reminder that, you know, crypto can be a minefield. So, you know, don't put in more than you can afford to lose, and take profits when you can, you know, especially in these very uncertain times. It's good to take profits. So shitty situation there with Rome. Hopefully that does recover. I don't see them giving up. So it seems like they're going to continue to push on there. So it could very well recover. But just a reminder to be careful out there. I mean, look, yeah, you can't make calls just to make calls. Look, we're here to make money, not just clicks or whatever. And to me, there's better ways to make money than aping into random meme coins right now. I didn't invest in a lot of the stuff recently. I just, you know, passed on it because, first of all, if you're not in front of the computer at the exact right time and you miss it, it's already ran, it's like, okay, I'm out, or just didn't have conviction, it's okay to pass. You know, we had this conversation in the DAO this weekend. It's okay to pass on things you don't like yourself. Like, that's fine. The one thing that's consistently made money for us over the past few months is Frontier Fund, because they're good at leverage trading, and that's the only thing. Like, memes are not doing well. Altcoins are not doing well for the most part. Maybe some bright spots here and there for a minute, and then it goes down. Frontier Fund's been killing it. So, I mean, we're, making 15% a month. I know it doesn't sound like life-changing money, and maybe it's not life-changing money, but after a year it is. So, I don't know. I just think right now there's certain things to do in the market, and there's certain things to avoid. Hopefully we've, found more winners than losers, and you guys are up. But man, it's a minefield out there. I'm just glad Frontier Fund is there to kind of help our portfolios.
Yeah, we'll see what Frontier Fund says. As of September 13th to 14th, they had another winning day trying to get back up their daily yield. And then they were expecting some kind of a flush during the Fed meeting, which played out. Hopefully they closed that because we did go to new highs after that occurred. And we haven't had an update since then just yet. So it'll be interesting to see which side of the market they were on. Did they get hurt by this dip or not? Did they exit positions, or will they wait for a bounce? But yeah, so far, Frontier Fund has been positive for us each and every cycle and continues to be positive as of the last update, which occurred on September 14th. This 30-day period is ending soon, so it'd be nice to see that daily yield continue to tick up. And then every 30 days, people can either take out profits or compound the profits. And there will be another round of the Frontier Fund raise. You only can get into that if you have 400,000 surf or more. That will be happening here in probably 30 to 40 days from now. So stay tuned. We'll keep you updated on the results. And everybody, all the surf holders who are in the Frontier Fund, you have been winning so far. And hopefully there's some more profits here for you to take in the next few days. Those profits, so some people compound them. Some people use them for the next round of calls, DCA into Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever it may be. Profits are profits, and so far Frontier Fund has been one of the best utilities of being a Surf Down member, that is for sure.
Yeah, man, so there's going to come a time when calls come back. I mean, a few months ago, we had a bunch of good calls and other private groups, and everyone was doing well because the market was on a major uptrend. But since that time, it's been kind of consolidating or down, and you do your best, and we've had some decent ones. I mean, Rome was great up until the hack, and so it's just like, man, it's a battlefield out there. It's a minefield. If you feel like you personally, anyone in the Surf DAO or who watch the channel, you're feeling a little risk off, that's fine. Be risk off. Don't ape into anything you're not feeling comfortable, you're not conviction around. But things can flip quickly, so let's not get too down in the dumps about it. I think this bull market has plenty of room to run. We're just in a bit of a doldrums here.
Bitcoin new high for the bounce, back up to 113,356. Ethereum still lagging, down 5.3% today. Let's see how Pulse Chain is reacting with Ethereum down 5.3%. It looks like Pulse Chain is only down 3.2%. PulseX down 2%. Inc is actually up 1%. And Hex is down, matching Ethereum, down just around 5%. Why do these things seem to follow each other? Well, remember that the sacrifice wallet of Pulse Chain has a ton of Ethereum. I don't know why this doesn't want to refresh. That's unfortunate. Has like 166,000 Ethereum. I wanted to refresh this to see how much ETH Bitminer and Sharplink Gaming also have here. Bitmine is nearing on 3% of the total ETH supply, up to 2.4 million Ethereum in their books. Sharplink Gaming still sitting at 838K. I assume this is going to get up towards the $1 million mark very soon. And you see the Pulse Chain sacrifice wallet still sitting at 166.3K Ethereum, worth $700 million. Ethereum Foundation sold more ETH. Imagine that in the past 30 days, sold some more ETH, 3% of their total stash, to fund development and ecosystem growth. But yeah, I mean, these continue to go up.
Get the Jeets out of there. Get the Ethereum Foundation Jeets out. We need their bags to be fully sold, and then we will run. Yeah, it's a real shame, but is what it is. Just one of the headwinds to... Look, guys, if this shit was easy, we'd all be rich. Everyone who ever invests in the financial markets would be rich. It's not easy. You got to hold through these days. You got to deal with the ups and downs, the emotional roller coasters. You got to deal with the Jeets, the Ethereum Foundations of the world, the soy boys of Vitalik, as we like to call them. So you got to deal with the challenges, all right? It's like anything in life. You got to go through the shit to have some gold at the end of the rainbow there. So we're in the shit for a day, whatever. I think we're gonna bounce here pretty soon, and this will be a distant memory. But yeah, this is one of those red days. You can't let them get to you though. You can't let them affect you. I mean, maybe a little bit. Okay, feel sad for 5 minutes and then get on with yourself. You can't be moping about all day. That'll just ruin your life, and you'll never make it in this industry or any other asset class for that matter. So. Just, deal with the ups and downs. Don't let it get to you too much. Touch some grass, and this will be over in a week.
Yeah, I guess if there's any questions, comments, or concerns, throw them in the chat box now. If there's any news articles you want to share, you can look at those now at Crypto Amaru. And the TLDR so far is we had a liquidation cascade that happened overnight. Every Monday lately, we've been having a sell-off. This one actually happened at about 3 a.m. when the U.S. is sleeping. It looked like a manipulated liquidity hunt because this was the largest number of longs that were liquidated this year so far in one single event, targeting Ethereum first of all, which hit the alts even harder. Bitcoin then reacting to ETH, which is normally not the case when you see these liquidation events as well. That's why some people think it was kind of manipulation. It will be a short-lived dump before the next rally. And we are watching for this to be maybe an A down, a B up, and a C down. That would be worst case scenario. But ultimately, 3,900 is major support for ETH. So our bullish thesis is still not invalidated. Some stocks that were in like GameStop are actually up today. We also still like BMNR and SBT as the leading Ethereum strategic reserves. Thomas Lee just raised another $365 million, which he will be using to buy Ethereum as they continue to march forward on buying 5 million ETH. They only hold 3 million so far. That's a lot more ETH they need to buy. And that's kind of the update on the market. Tesla up 4%. Is it because Elon Musk is buying Tesla shares, or because he was sitting next to and shaking hands with Donald Trump yesterday? Who knows? But green on the day while everything else is in the red. And of course, gold to new all-time highs, heading towards our target of 3,900 to 4,000 gold. And that is the TLDR and the wrap-up. Not to forget, if you want to get in the pre-sale quants, the last day to buy today, and we have $3,000 that we are going to use to buy and burn the Surf token today as well, because buying the dips is the name of the game. Surf is too cheap, so let's buy and burn it forever so nobody else can buy it at these levels.
Well, some recap. The crowd loved it. The crowd loved the Surf burn too. And I'll just leave you guys with this. So, look, this was obviously a manipulation. I don't think that's really in any doubt. Looking at that chart, looking at the timing, looking at what happened at 3 a.m., thin liquidity, blah, blah, blah. Historically, they're doing it on the Mondays. All the above. But I will leave you with this. So, yes, sometimes they manipulate the market down. The price dumps and all the longs get liquidated. But you know what else they do sometimes? You know what normally comes next? A manipulation up, okay? They don't just manipulate it down one way. So for all those who are, the market's manipulated, it's controlled by these market makers, controlled by Binance, yeah, maybe there's a lot of truth to that, but you know what? They also need to manipulate it up at times. So they will manipulate it back up. We will have a bullish, outperformance, maybe next week, maybe in a month, who knows? But it's going to happen. Bitcoin's all-time high was not 124,000. We are going to go higher. The Fed is going to cut rates at the end of October when they meet again, and they're going to cut again in December. And let's see what Michael Saylor and Donald Trump cook up with the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. That's a trump card, as it were, that no one's talking about. No one's thinking about that. No one's thinking about that, tomorrow Trump could basically announce through executive order, boom, we're buying this much Bitcoin. I'll let a lawsuit try to stop me. He could do that tomorrow. So there are a lot of bullish catalysts coming. 124K was on the top. The market makers manipulate the price up at some point, and we are all going to make it.
I think that's all we got. No other questions or comments, at least on YouTube. Maybe there is on Twitter. If we don't see them on Twitter, sorry about that. This doesn't feed in. Maybe we might switch to StreamYard so we can see those. We shall see. If you want to comment live, make sure to get over to the YouTube channel or leave the comments after the fact. If you're watching this in the recording, we'll try to get to those as well and talk about them in the next live show, which happens each and every Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. And we also know Nate has been doing a couple impromptu live shows in Asian time. He is traveling for some conferences, so expect some short-form content from crypto conferences. Maybe some new gems come out of those, some new alpha. So that's why you stay tuned to Crypto Paradise. You got me and Crypto Amaru here in the States, giving you the macro, giving you the trades, and we got Nate in the streets trying to find the alpha in person as well.
Yeah, we need that. I can't do fun stuff anymore because I got kids. So, shout out to all the dads out there that are tethered to, your respective desk. Can't do fun traveling, getting drunk at conferences, talking about internet money. Shout out to Nate, though. But anyway, guys, great stuff today. We'll be back tomorrow. And until then, see you on the beach.
Crypto is on the rise, making that